All right, look at these beautiful sugar skulls. Welcome, artists. I'm so excited to have you here today as we get ready for Easter. We are making some really fun projects today, and I hope you enjoy it. We're going to start with some sugar skulls, and we're going to do them on Easter eggs. Now, as you can see here, I started with just a regular old egg and I drew my pattern on in black Sharpie. There's another one. Now this one I blew the egg out. I don't know if you've ever done that before, but it's really fun. Get your responsible adult to help you there with that. You simply pierce a hole in the top and the bottom, make it a good size hole, and then you can blow through the egg and get the yolk and the white to come out in a bowl. I did that on several of my eggs, and you'll see one in a little while that will show you I made the hole too big and I left a big hole, but I'm going to use a different project for that one to show you. Now right here, you can see that I'm starting to just draw some eyes on my egg with the Sharpie. Now this is a hard-boiled egg that I'm using here. You can use a hard-boiled egg. You know what? With a Sharpie, you could even use a plastic egg. Notice on that little nose, it's just an upside down little heart. And that works super well when you are trying to make a little sugar skull nose. I finally learned how to increase the speed on my recording. I'm so excited. I tell you what, guys, I'm just learning some new skills. All this is new to me, but I am having so much fun learning how to make videos. So I've learned how to go a little faster so you don't get so bored watching me do the boring stuff. The reason I like to show you, though, is to give you lots of different ideas. Now, sugar skulls often have spider webs at the top. They often have hearts and flowers and different kinds of little shapes. Now on this one I had some colored Sharpies, so I went ahead and just used that to put the color on this egg. I had several different colors. Look here, this purple ended up looking exactly like the pink. So then I went to some blue because that showed up a little bit different. The pink and the purple were just too similar. Now you can use Sharpies if you have them. If you have regular markers, use those. You can try anything on your eggs. I've even used crayons on my eggs before and it works great. Speaking of crayons, if you have some and you're boiling your eggs and you're ready to dye them, if you're going to dye eggs with your family, put some crayon designs on first and then dye your eggs, and it will leave a little resist pattern. Kind of like when you do crayon resist on paper, when we draw in crayon and then we watercolor on top. Oh, there's the one where I blew the hole out too big. I'll show you that one again later. This is another one that I blew the egg yolk out and the white. Can you see how wiggly it is? It's because it doesn't weigh anything. I love to do them that way. They're very fragile and they will break, but they're so fun to play with. Now, you see I've got some food coloring because you guys are at home and you're not with me. I figured you might not have watercolors. You might not have acrylic paint. If you do have watercolors or acrylics, those will work on eggs. But I just put a tiny drop of liquid food coloring on a lid, and look how beautifully the egg takes that color. Now, if you don't have food coloring or any of those other things, you can also use the Easter egg dye kits. Go ahead and mix up that dye, and instead of always dipping your eggs into the dye, you can also take a little brush or a little Q-tip and you can apply color that way from the dye kits, because really the dye kits are very similar to the food coloring. Well, here I am trying not to get wet paint all over my fingers and mess up my design, and I think that's all I'm going to put on that one. Remember, guys, sugar skulls have a lot of white in them, so you don't have to put too much color, just a little, enough to pop the color. Now this one I hard boiled and then I drew some patterns on it, and I decided, boy, if I've got Sharpie doing all my details, I'm just going to paint it all over the place and make myself a pretty orange egg. Now you could also dip that right down into the food coloring. Look at my hands, they're a mess. I don't care. You know me, I'm always a mess. But if you want, you can do that. Dip them into the color. Oh, did you see that? Marshmallow bunnies, it's Peeps time. All right, so I figured we were going to paint today, and since you may not have paints, I got frosting. So we're going to paint with frosting today. So I took a white thing of frosting that was 97 cents, and I mixed some of that food coloring with it to get pink. Now I'm taking my little bunny, and I'm going to make a little bunny print. There it is. I decided to make a little landscape with a few little bunnies hanging out there in the grass. So I'm starting right there with the bunnies, and they're a little bit bumpy, so then I decided I was going to smooth them around with my finger. Now this is an old hotel key card from where we went on vacation a year ago or two ago. Do you see how it makes great grass? So just do it like that, get you some tall blades of grass, and then go in with your finger and make some more grass. And look at those little bunnies, they're just sitting there looking off in the distance, aren't they? Marshmallows. All right, let's make some flowers with those marshmallows. Can I tell you what I did with them? I ate that one. Now I'm going to take them again, and I'm going to make butterflies. So you just take those marshmallows, think of whatever you like, and if you have other things in the house that you want to stamp around and make in your picture, you may. You may use anything you like. Now this time I turned my key card over to the other side, and I'm using it to make the little body on my butterflies. I hope you're getting some good ideas on some ways that you can print and stamp some things. Now if you don't have frosting, guess what else you could use? Do you have chocolate syrup? You could use that. You could use all kinds of things to stamp around. Ketchup, mustard, whatever. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. All right, here's that egg that I blew out, that I blew the big hole in. Look how big I made that. I was messing up. But don't worry, we're going to use tissue paper. And this is watered down glue, although I didn't water it down too much. You might like to water it down more than I did. You can use Mod Podge, you can use watered down glue, you can use regular glue, and just any old thing. If you don't have tissue paper, guys, you can use wrapping paper, you can find some newspaper, you can find any number of things. Go through the mail. Maybe you're getting some sale catalogs and you can't go out shopping right now, so get those. And there's beautiful colors in magazines and sale catalogs. And notice I'm putting the gluey substance on the egg first, then I put the little tissue paper on there, and then I put some glue on top again, and that seals it in there really nicely. Those of you who took art with me last semester and you did India, you got really good at doing this, because this is how we made the water out in front of the Taj Mahal. But if you haven't, no worries. You just go under and then over. Oh, look, my orange fingers are getting all over that egg. I don't think it'll matter. We'll cover it up with some tissue paper. Looking down in your wrapping paper section is a good place to find tissue paper, because we all use that when we're wrapping presents to go to a birthday party or something. So go down there and look and see if you have any tissue paper. Or if you're like us, after the holidays, we save our tissue paper and recycle it. And so you might have some stashed away. I just found a few pieces I had and cut them into little tiny squares. Those squares are about 1 centimeter each in size, but they're not perfect. I just cut them up real quick. And notice I'm going over a few areas that needed some more. That big hole at the top that I messed up on, I end up putting about 2 or 3 coats on it so that we have plenty of thickness up there. Oh, who doesn't love glitter? If you don't have glitter at home, don't worry about it. If you do have glitter, go to town, because who doesn't love glitter on your eggs? So here I am just rolling a little extra around and getting that egg all sparkly. I sure hope you're having as much fun as I had making these eggs. Look at that, all that beautiful sparkly, and once that dries, artists, it becomes nice and strong. All right, there's what our sugar skull eggs turned out looking like. I think they turned out really cute. And here's what the sparkly tissue paper one looked like. And there is our painting with kitchen stuff. I hope you had fun today. I sure had fun. Send me pictures of what you make.